Hello and welcome to Future Back Drinking, a new podcast series from PepsiCo and Time. I'm your host, Dr. Athina Kanioura, and as PepsiCo's Chief Strategy and Transformation Officer, I believe it's incredibly important to speak with today's industry leaders and explore the emerging innovations and ideas that are certain to impact all of us. Listen along as top-tier visionaries reveal the challenges, opportunities, and wow moments they've encountered in transforming today's fast-paced world. Future Back Drinking is more than just a podcast. It's a journey through the now into the next, served with a twist. Join me to explore what the future holds, with some of the brightest minds paving the way. This episode features my conversation with Deb Cupp, President of Microsoft America, a $70 billion business that's been radically transforming itself in recent years. Deb shares insights into what it takes to build a winning culture as the leader of such a large corporation and what goes into modernizing a giant in the tech space. If anyone knows how to adapt and embrace AI, it's Deb. Here is our conversation. Hi, Deb. Welcome to the show. It's so lovely to see you again, and thank you so much for joining me.
First, thank you for having me. I'm actually thrilled to see you and thrilled to be here.
So let's dive in a bit. So as you're thinking of how technology is reshaping the future of humans, how can, technologies like AI help not just the people, but also every single kind of being that lives in this planet?
What I love about the question is I actually think it is it's not just about people, it is about beings. It's actually about our planet. I think the opportunities are remarkable. So I think the neatest thing to me about where we're going with technology and things like AI is just the opportunity to do things that we couldn't do before. So the access to data and information at scales that were never possible before just are providing insights that no one had in the past. So I find it incredibly exciting because I think about the things perhaps we can do for our planet, the things that we can do for our animals, the things that we can learn about different species. So perhaps even those that may be endangered, we have opportunities to help support. So I think it's actually a wide open in terms of opportunity. It just comes down to the fact that we need information, data that we can actually reason over to provide us information that can help us make better decisions on behalf of people, planet, beings, plants, trees, whatever it might be.
So, and if we were to take a bit the theme of technology, planet, people, as Microsoft, you have a very big mission on sustainable growth and how AI can be enhancing humans to be doing things even better, even faster, and in a way that amplifies the experiences rather than eliminate the people. So talk to me a bit about the mission of Microsoft and how are you also encouraging your employees to live this mission and vision that your CEO has and, of course, you have for the benefit of the society?
Yeah, so our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And the thing I love about this mission is it just becomes more real, I think, every day. So I've been at Microsoft for 6 years now, and every year you can connect to that mission with everything that we do. And as we've been on this journey of allowing opportunities to be created because of the things that we can do with generative AI that we couldn't even do 2-3 years ago, you think about the reach. We work with New York City schools, and New York City schools were thinking about, do we want to use this technology? At first, actually, they banned it, which a lot of customers did, and we totally understand that. They didn't want people accessing ChatGPT without having some guardrails, which we completely agree with. And then they said, wait a minute, we have so many students who have so many questions. We have teachers who feel they can't get to everybody the way that they want to. So what if we use ChatGPT and OpenAI, data services with Microsoft, and we created this opportunity for our students to ask questions? And so they opened it up just for 3 classes, computer science classes. They had 2,000 questions that came in. There's no way teachers can get to all of those. So they were actually using the technology to answer the questions. So it's just one simple example of how we can create educational opportunities for people. We have opportunities to create scale in ways that we couldn't before. And I think that's what's so exciting about it. It's about people thinking about, how can I create reach or scale that I wasn't able to create before to create good impact. And that good impact could be about education. That good impact could be about sustainability. That good impact could just be about a company that's trying to increase revenue or increase productivity.
Let me pivot a bit the discussion. PepsiCo is one of those companies that is in the midst of a major transformation. And we are not the only one, right? I mean, it's like if you look at the manufacturing sector, how do you see manufacturing and the future of manufacturing really being transformed through AI and, of course, all the technology advancements that you in Microsoft are working?
Yeah, I would say this is one of the areas that I am super encouraged. I think that there's a lots of, you could sort of take it end to end if you think of kind of the evolution of everything that happens in a manufacturing environment. And you can even start with just supply chain and things like traceability, sustainability, areas like that where we've been able to identify lots of opportunity with technology and AI because you just have, again, more ability to reason over data and provide solutions or insights that then people can access and operate off. So I love that part of it. So if you think about it just from a traceability standpoint, from supply chain, a sustainability standpoint, depending on what area you're in from a manufacturing perspective, and then you get right into the actual manufacturing environment. And I think this is an area where we've done some work together, even in terms of things like digital twins. And a digital twin, just think about it in the context of a mirror of an actual manufacturing line that's digital. And this became, for us, a very high focus in COVID because when we couldn't get people into manufacturing facilities the way we wanted to, but yet we still needed to make sure those manufacturing facilities were running, we were able to create digital twins. And that's an opportunity to actually see what's going on the manufacturing line without having to physically be there. And then you step into things like allowing to see predictive maintenance so that you can catch things before you have a challenge. You start to optimize. So machines are kicking off data. And so what are we learning from the data that will help us optimize that manufacturing line? In any manufacturing organization, for anyone who's in that business knows, you've got to optimize that. Your efficiency there is incredibly important to your organization. So that's an awesome opportunity as well. And then if you flip it to sort of the front end of things, you need signals that are coming in that help you understand what should I be manufacturing? How do I know about the demand? So you start to think about demand coming in and how you use our technology, whether it's AI or generative AI, to figure out what demand and where. And that way you're also thinking about how do I reduce waste? Because I just think, wow, you can take it from end to end and really think about opportunities from all aspects of your own internal supply chain in addition to the supply chain coming into your organization. So for me, huge opportunity. I know there's some things that we've done together that have been pretty neat at PepsiCo in terms of just even Cheetos, like looking at how we're making them. And, it sounds funny, but it's actually kind of cool when you think about
our perfect Cheetos. Exactly.
We don't want to have any waste when it comes to Cheetos, right? So lots of opportunities there.
Of course, we have been working together in digital twin and smart manufacturing, and through this project, we have been also rethinking the value chain of R&D. And together, we work to create the perfect Cheeto, the crunchier, the nicest, with a beautiful shape and taste, etc. So why don't you tell us a couple of things of how does this perfect Cheeto come into life by using your technology?
Yeah, we love this one. We're like, do we get to sample the Cheetos as we're going through this process? So it was actually really cool because it was an opportunity for us to watch the production lines and then learn on the data that was coming off the machine. So basically, we were trying to figure out how do we create the perfect Cheeto and how do we minimize waste? Because it's always about minimizing waste. And the way you minimize waste is to create the perfect Cheeto. So in essence, we just were able to mine data that was coming off of the production line, and it was informing the team to say, okay, here's what's happening in terms of whether it's humidity or ingredients. It's about sort of the mix of what goes in, and then it tells us sort of what's coming out. Is it coming out to the best of our ability, the best Cheeto, the crunchiest Cheeto we want? Or is there a shift or a change that we need to make on the environment in where we're manufacturing, the amount of water we're using, whatever the ingredient might be, to then create the least amount of waste? So that's what we did. So we worked together to figure out the data inputs, and then collectively we're able to minimize waste and get to a perfect Cheeto.
And it is a perfect Cheeto. I mean, I can attest to that. But you were also a bit more, I would say, legacy company, if you were to think of the suite of the product. So talk to me a bit about your transformation journey. Of course, Satya being pivotal to that, but not just Satya, it's also your partnership. So I think it would be good for everyone to hear a bit how you are thinking of your journey.
Yeah, I love that question. And certainly Satya, our CEO, has been a remarkable leader of that transformation. And you're spot on. I think, Microsoft of 10 years ago is very different than Microsoft today. I've been with Microsoft for 6 years. And even in my 6 years, I've seen just this incredible transformation journey. And I think I will start with, we talk about growth mindset a lot at Microsoft, and really the opportunity to think more broadly in terms of things that we don't know and asking more questions. I think perhaps some would say the Microsoft of old was a bit of a know-it-all, that they thought they had all the answers, that perhaps they brought all those answers forward in a way that customers might say, like, that's not exactly what I meant, or that's not exactly what I was looking for. And I hope the Microsoft of today continues to be more of an engaged company that spends time trying to understand what our customers are trying to solve for. And I think the innovation pace from a technology perspective has been remarkable. So that speed of innovation, even from 6 years ago to now, is at a pace that I couldn't have imagined. To me, technology is the enabler. It's the enabler. You have to solve what's the problem you're trying to solve first? And I think you would probably say this too. Even maybe 8 years ago, I don't know that Microsoft was always the company that was trying to solve your problem. I feel like Microsoft today is trying to solve your problem.
But of course, we cannot, close this topic without the partners that you have, right? Because again, that's a big pivot from how historically you have been managing the business, which was much more of a closed loop, anything that you had inside. And now suddenly we saw this big partnership with OpenAI, the whole leadership of Microsoft embracing, this organization and allowing this organization to be interacting directly with your customers, right? In a very transparent way, I have to say. So one is, what was the big cultural pivot for Microsoft to be able to do that? And did you see, first of all, any resistance in the culture of the legacy organization to do that? And I would say the second part is, as you are here thinking of your future as a company who obviously has big growth aspirations, do you see an even more complex ecosystem of partners for you to allow you to grow in all the great fields, whether it's gaming or AI that you want to participate? So I would like to your point of view, because I'm sure that all the audience would love to hear for your perspective in this space.
Yeah, so I'll start with the first question, which was, what was the pivot? I'm going to say the pivot was Satya. When Satya became CEO, he spent a lot of time just sort of spending time listening, spending time with teams and starting to recognize, and this is not a secret, this is published, that there was so much competition internally between our product teams that it was not sustainable. Like there's goodness in healthy competition. There is not goodness when that competition is not healthy. And I think Microsoft was at a place where there was some unhealthy competition that was happening even internally. And we were so internally focused instead of being focused on our customers and the market. So I think Satya sort of put a stake in the ground and said, that's not who we're going to be. And we're going to stop sort of this approach, and we're going to focus on having a growth mindset, and we're going to hold ourselves accountable. Was there resistance? Sure. And I think, any change is hard. Like, just for people to think about, how do I rewire my brain in terms of the way that I'm supposed to be delivering? And is the one Microsoft more important than the me? And the answer is yes. And as we move forward, I think it's just I'm so glad you brought up partnerships, because absolutely, I think as you look across our businesses, and I'm glad you brought up Xbox, you've seen a lot of partnership that we've had there. We will continue to see partners in all aspects of our ecosystem. They are incredibly, incredibly important to delivery. So as you know, as we work on selling technology to our customers, our partners are absolutely integral in delivering that capability to our partners as well. So we see partnership as a massive, critical, important lever to our business and certainly to our customers, which is why we're all in this thing, to make sure that we're delivering on their behalf.
Let me pivot that now to Deb, right? I mean, you are the president of North America, as you said, 6 years in the organization, an amazing female leader who is not just very successful in what you do, but also very close to your teams and the culture of the company. And you talk very often about a winning culture, but also a very empathetic culture, a culture that, embraces diversity and inclusion and equity. So talk to me a bit about those values and how do you lead with your teams day to day?
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm just a super real person. I think that what you see is what you get. I show up the same way here as I would with people in a conference room, as you've seen me interacting with customers. I'm the same person everywhere I go. And I think that's really important because your confidence and your sort of freedom to lead in the way that you think makes sense. If you're your own authentic person, I think that's incredibly easy, actually. So I feel grateful that I am confident to do that. I also think that I'm a big believer in team. I grew up playing sports, and I've always felt like I get so much joy out of watching people achieve things they didn't think they could. I think there's beauty in understanding how a team comes together and that everybody, back to your point on diversity, everybody has different strengths. Not everybody's good at everything, and that is actually okay. It's actually preferred. You want to make sure that people are playing the position that makes sense for them so they can grow and develop in their skills, and that their combination of their skills and others coming together just makes the team so much more powerful and successful. So I think the way I lead is by example. I would never ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I'm pretty well known for sort of rolling up my sleeves and kind of getting in the middle of it. I believe strongly in understanding the problem that's trying to be solved before I would ever weigh in on something. So my ideas are never the best. I am never the smartest person in a room. I believe strongly in getting the best talent that I can to make sure that we drive to the best results that we can. And the other thing I would say for me is I'm a big believer in having fun. I love humor. I think humor is such an important part of our lives. I think making room for learning, giving people a chance to go figure something out. Just with all the things that we're talking about, all this technology that is so new, people have to go learn. You're not going to understand everything from the first minute. You're learning so fast now because things are happening so quickly. Give people space. Let people make mistakes. I'll make mistakes. I'll highlight my own mistakes. I'll be sure that people understand that I might be the first person to say, I don't understand this. I'm happy to sort of step into something as an example. So I think all of those things are so important for giving people confidence that they can just show up as who they are and that they have the freedom to not know and they have the freedom to be wrong. And that just... it unlocks something in people. You can watch it. It just unlocks them to sort of feel like, okay, I can kind of get after this thing, and I might not do it right, but they've got my back. I say that a lot. I've got your back.
That's you. And I can vouch that. You are very authentic. And I think this is what everyone loves about you. Your authenticity, your sense of humor, and I have to say, for the audience, my experience with Deb, every time I needed something and I would text her, work or non-work related, she would be there. I mean, that's you, and that's why we love you, Deb. But and that's why your teams are so, enamored by how you lead with integrity and passion and authenticity. Okay, Deb, now we're going to go to a lightning round, and I'm going to introduce some questions for you. What's your favorite non-traditional way to use Copilot?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know if I will say I use it like I don't know that it's non-traditional, but I would say I use it at home, but like personally all the time. So I'm constantly using it for like customer meetings. I don't know if that's non-traditional, but I search on people I'm meeting all the time. So I'm doing a ton of research on people, not the business, the people. I do it on the business too, but I don't know that everybody does that. I don't know that everybody spends the time learning about the human. Yeah, learn about the human as well as the business.
That's a good one. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's a non-traditional way to do things. Okay, what is the one thing people don't know about you?
I feel like everybody knows everything about me. I mean, some people don't know that I was a Division I athlete. I don't know, for some reason that's surprising.
I didn't know that. In which?
Yes, I played field hockey and lacrosse at University of Richmond. Yes.
I knew you play lacrosse. I didn't know Division I. Ooh, okay, that's good. Okay, what keeps you up at night?
I would say I'm generally a good sleeper, Athena. I actually work pretty hard to make sure that I get good sleep. It's very important. But I don't know that things keep me up at night. I generally have, I'm sort of a glasses half full person. So I generally sort of am thinking about, if there's a problem, I'm often trying to think of the opposite side of that thing. Like, how do we make that an opportunity? So, I worry about the world, certainly. I worry about, our planet. I worry about, we have unrest in all parts of the world. I worry about that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't say that I let it keep me up at night.
Good. I'm glad you're a good sleeper. I am as well. It's my husband is not. Okay, and what's a future technology that we are not yet aware of, that you as Microsoft are thinking of, not necessarily experimenting of, that you believe is going to be an even bigger unlock than Gen AI? If you can share any ideas to us about that.
I think if I really knew, I wouldn't tell you.
Of course.
I think quantum is super interesting. Quantum computing. I think in conjunction with AI, and quantum is not a secret. Lots of folks are working on quantum, but I think we're still a ways away from the impact. But I think that in conjunction with AI can be pretty remarkable. So I don't know. I don't know exactly where that takes us, and I am sure there will be things years from now that we hadn't even considered, which is kind of the cool thing about this space. You never know what's coming.
That's wonderful. Okay, so it wouldn't be a future backdrinking podcast episode if I didn't ask you, if you were to have an opportunity to go outside now in a bar and drink something with someone, who would that person be and why?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. It'd be my dad. He passed away, now it's 15 years already. So, yeah, it'd be my dad.
Oh, wow. That's so sweet. Deb, firstly, an honor.
Thank you.
A privilege. Great friend. An amazing mind. A very authentic individual. I think it was it's always a privilege to be sharing these thoughts with you. And I think you provided a very thought-provoking episode for all our audience. And great thoughts for them to go back and take and process and how the world is evolving, what their role should be, how you as Microsoft, but even more importantly, Deb as a leader, is thinking of the future. So thank you as always very much. And can't wait to talk even more with you, next time face to face.
I can't either. It is so good to see you. It is such a pleasure. And thank you so much for inviting me. It was so fun to be here.
Thank you for joining us on Future Back Drinking. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected with us on all your favorite podcast platforms.